LinkedIn, YouTube, and Twitter. Hey, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight. Tonight's going to be interesting. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Jeremy Winger, and my dad was murdered when I was 18. Now, I don't say that as look at me, woe is me. I'm saying that out of healing and a place to where I want those who have lost loved ones to feel like are not alone, that someone understands them. Now, when it comes to this, I contemplated suicide when I was 16, parents divorced when I was 10. But at the same time, though, there was a lot of stuff after his passing throughout these years that I've literally had to reverse engineer, and stuff as life goes on, things happen and new things are just discovered, and it takes place. And so if y'all haven't yet seen the link, there's going to be a link. If somewhere around this video, you're going to see this on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, wherever you see it at. There's going to be a link at where you can join the conversation in the comments and be able to ask any questions, whatever you have on your heart. If you're going through something right now, feel free to join in the conversation. Just comment down below, or if you'll just shoot me a message, because I want you to understand that you're not alone, and there are ways to gain healing, understanding, and also to forgive yourself. Because a lot of times where we end up at in our own struggle is not being able to forgive ourselves. Being able to let go of what was done. And one of the biggest things is it's it's important to know that when you are, for starters, when you lose someone, sorry, I was looking up there, that when you lose someone that you think you can go back, or the feelings and the emotions immediately is that I want to rewind time, and I'm a big Marvel fan. That's why I love Doctor Strange, but I wish that I had that ability to do it, but I don't, and no one does. And it's interesting because in the pit of that pain is one of the brightest and strongest forces for power. Okay. And when I'm saying that, what I mean is the devil's never going to attack what God has purposed for you. I'll say this. The devil only attacks what God has purpose for you. So when it comes to those things that you're passionate about, even if you're not a Christian, you're watching this, you have an anthem beating on the inside of you. Every single day. And there's nothing that, even if no matter what you do, it's how you perceive things, it's how you see things, it's how you define things, actually. That passion on the inside of you, that mission that literally no one can take from you. No matter if someone beats the living crap out of you, no one can take that from you. That's what I want to talk about tonight. That is where I want to really hit on and talk about vision. I want to talk about how, even though you may feel like you're not worthy, that you're not able, right? That you don't have the ability to stand up and to take a hold of what's really going on. It's not the truth. Absolutely is not the truth. The pain and the emotions, when they hit, when they stampede, God, they stampede. Whew! And when they do, and if y'all are just tuning in, please hit the link around this video, wherever it's at, to join the conversation. I'm on a dashboard, so I'm not actually on those social media channels. It's just broadcasting out there to it. But I want to be able to see your comment on the dashboard. But when those emotions and those feelings hit, it's going to do everything. It's easier to be negative because it's much harder to be responsible for nothing. But also, too, there's that amount of fulfillment and nothing. None. And it's interesting because in the middle of all the emotions, in the middle of all the insanity that happens, the one thing that we can always do that no one can ever take from us: dream. You know that you're in depression when having fun feels illegal. And when I say that, it's not to be like, oh, you're diagnosed with this. No, bro. Depression is just a bad use of thought and energy, because it's a multi-pronged attack. It's a multi-pronged thing that happens because we're masterpieces and we're human beings. And it's interesting. It really, when it comes down to, it's funny how we underrate ourselves. especially after we lose someone. And that's the time that we're supposed to, grab, I'm over on TikTok live and I'm just talking with somebody and they were sharing their story and they want to tell you what I told them. Right now, you have the power in your hands to write their legacy and live it in front of someone. Because at the end of the day, hey, Roxanne, at the end of the day, you have the ability to carry forward and for them to be a part of everything because of what they instilled on the inside of you. We learn from everyone. I don't care what their age is, no matter what. Because at the end of the day, no matter what age it is, and see, this is flip the script. It's not just about them, it's also about us. It's about yourself, right? It's about yourself. Think about, and this is what really helped me. Think about all the pain that you're going through. First of all, for the person who's on TikTok time, just know that I made that, right? But jokes aside though, the pain that comes up, I want you to immediately, with an outlet, go and do something for someone else or do that thing for yourself. That's going to be hard. But after a while, what's going to happen is those emotions and feelings are going to be reprogrammed, right? They're going to be groomed in a different direction because you're practicing something that's uncomfortable. And that's mentally when we're with other folks, and it's all we can think about is what happened, or even see what we're reminded of. That happens. And that's fantastic, Atlanta, because at the end of the day, the more you practice that, the more you're going to truly start turning a tide. That's the key, because a lot of folks have to get to that point with where you're at now. And so now it's a matter of saying, okay, I'm going to keep it on a consistent basis, but you're human, so don't beat yourself up. Forgive yourself, move on, keep moving on. Because understand that you're not perfect, and that's the biggest thing. Keep doing that. I just want to encourage you in that, because when you do it for the other folks, the biggest balance on that chapter of it is not doing it too much for them, and then also not doing it for yourself. So you have to keep that in balance, right? You got to keep in balance, like, I got to do this for them, but also too, I need to make sure that I'm also not just doing this for, I'm going to divert my focus over here, guys. I'm over on TikTok live too. But the more you do that, the more you practice, but also balance it for yourself. Because here's the other thing: when you may actually catch yourself doing this down the road, but the next chapter of that is do it for yourself the way you do it for others. A lot of folks will go down one or two routes, or even one or three routes. Doing everything for other people and never doing anything for themselves, or doing everything for themselves and shunning everyone else, or doing nothing for anyone and nothing for themselves. And it's one of the three. And it's interesting because one road always and eventually ends up at the other, right? The one who doesn't do anything, and to be reawoken with a vision, right? And then ironically, no matter when someone starts with themselves or with another person, a lot of times they'll end up on the other path, because when you start doing a whole bunch of things for other people, you're like, what about me? And then a lot of folks, after you're doing things for yourself too, you need to do that for yourself, of course, but you don't need to not do things for other people. So that's where you have that balance, and it's funny, it's wildly ironic, and but when it comes down to just being able to just be okay with yourself. Don't try to put yourself in a box. Dream again, even though it feels illegal. Fun is not illegal, right? And so when you're able to really dive in and dig in to that pain and break down to the mechanics of it, right? And it's being able to make sure, and that's where, and that's where you have to balance it. No matter what route we start at, we also have to do the deep work on ourselves. It's so important. I mean, gosh, it's so important. And I'm telling you, gosh, I need to get in shape. Look at that, y'all. I got ice cream scoops. Don't judge. I firmly believe we have to laugh too. But I'm telling you, it is not an easy path. And even to this day, this week I was going through a massive challenge in business, and I kid you not, my mind went to a dark place. I had to snatch it back though. And see, you're not the only one. Like, I don't care. I'm on here, on whatever. I'm a regular person. I'm a regular person. For those of you who are tuning in on Facebook, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and YouTube, I am talking over on TikTok Live. So if you want to join the convo over there, go ahead and jump on over from wherever you're tuning in from over here. But for those of you who want to find me on TikTok, Jeremy Winger Official, that's the official one. Look for the orange background, that's me. But I'm telling you, there's an insane amount of potential if you push through the pain. And it's not a matter of trying to fix things that you can't fix. It's a matter of being okay with what you cannot change. And that's where you have to develop that pain tolerance too. It will thicken that emotional skin that we all have. And ironically enough, it's like I said, it's not easy. And so those of you who are tuning in over on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, my name is Jeremy. My dad was murdered when I was 18. I don't like to. My dad was murdered when I was 18. I contemplated suicide when I was 16. My parents divorced when I was 10. And we're just talking. I'm over on TikTok and Instagram Live, and so we're just chatting about some stuff. Just did a trip to the ocean on my daughter's birthday. I needed a family. Yeah, and that's okay. And that's where it's like. I went to my dad's house yesterday. Was it yesterday or I think it was yesterday or 2 days ago? And I just asked the person, I said, whenever y'all sell, I'd love to buy. And there's a lot of stuff that happens, man. And there's so many things that are, there are so many things that happen that, it's, throughout life, and the triggers just keep surfacing like fossils, right? It's like, imagine if our heart, our soul was this massive, just absolutely every single thing, every memory was something that was buried in our heart, because it was. And as life goes on, dust falls off, and those are those triggers. A lot of times it takes life to knock some things off to be able to reveal that. And that's where those experiences, as life goes on and we experience life, triggers are going to reveal themselves like fossils buried deep in the earth. And it's a matter of being okay. And that's part of our humanity. We grow. We grow in understanding. And it's busting a lot of those myths about a lot about how it's amazing how, and with mentally and emotionally, we look for outside reasons as to why we can't control our response, which blows my mind. And for those of you guys who are tuning in on LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook, go ahead and hit the link or somewhere around with this video, and that way I can see your comments down here. I'm using a StreamYard right now, so I can't see your comments if you're over on Facebook. I think it's Facebook. I'm gonna guess it's Matthew. But yeah, it's one of those things where you have to be okay with not being okay. Because here's the thing: if you're not strong at times, welcome to humanity. The Kardashians are perfect. Well, let's stop. Man, come on. We are human. We all have the things we go through. Of course, some of the things are nobody's business, but at the end of the day, why not? There are so many things that happen in life that we have to be okay with. And it's a matter of just being okay with what we can't control. But forgiving ourselves and saying, okay, you know what? I know that happened. But also at the same time, having those thoughts do not define you. I just feel like I just need to say that to somebody. Just because you have really weird thoughts and things that come in your mind that, hey, PSA, we're all weird in our own fancy way. But the irony is when we try so hard to be strong, when we're literally like dust holding it together, like compressed sand. And that doesn't do anybody any good. Definitely not like any children or anybody that, our family members or anyone, our spouse, anyone that loves us, that we love. When we try to be perfect and try to be strong instead of being vulnerable and being open and really allowing somebody who cares for you to pour into you without judgment, of course, but also too to make sure that, you know what, I do need to talk to somebody. I do need to talk it out. I do need to, of course, be careful who I say stuff to. I mean, obviously, but at the end of the day, don't think that you're alone. Just because, just because they may not have the same faith as you, doesn't mean that they won't be there to listen. Okay. And I'm saying that regardless. I don't care what anyone's faith is. I mean, well, I actually do. I take that back. But there's some folks that have certain faiths that I'd just be crazy to open up to. But when it comes down to really just finding those who care, who are going to be an ear, without trying to be lips, right? All ear, no lips. Yep. And so, and it's interesting because at the end of the day, the pain that we experience, and the pain we go through, really, truly, a lot of it has to do with what we bring to the table and what we're about to bring to the table, but mainly with where the legacy of that person who passed away. And I'm telling you, it is where it's to the point where you know that you have to be okay. Again, you have to be okay with not being okay. It is very hard, and it is not. Yeah, it's not easy. I'm just gonna hang out for a little bit. I'm just rambling now. And I'm getting tired too. All right, y'all. Well, I'm going to hop off, and I am tonight was just a short night, short episode, but I'm really glad that for everyone who tuned in. For those of you who are catching the replay, I appreciate you. Also, please comment anything that you may come to mind. I really appreciate everyone carving out time, and I really appreciate those of you who were open and vulnerable. And on all the channels, I really do appreciate it because that's what I do this for. I don't want to do this just a ramble. I want to, if I can just pour into one person, it's worth it. Absolutely worth it. But definitely don't want to stop at just one, but definitely want to make sure the right people who are going through grief, who are really struggling, understand they're not alone. Because you're definitely not. Y'all have an awesome rest of your evening and enjoy your weekend. See ya.